Pregame.com.
It's Saturday night basketball, Tobacco Road, ACC matchup between Duke and North Carolina from Chapel Hill. Game time 9 p.m. Eastern. And speaking of mediocre on the road, we talked about Notre Dame being mediocre on the road in our last video. That's Duke, really. I mean, 4-4 straight up in 8 true road games this season. And they're going to face a Carolina team, Marco, that's playing their best basketball of the season. I know a lot of people don't like Roy Williams, but you got to respect the X's and the O's out of this guy. No matter where he's at, he gets the job done. He made a few lineup changes, changed some of the combinations on the floor, if you will, over periods of time over the last few weeks. This team's reeled off 6 straight wins, straight up 7 straight wins against the spread, and now they get a chance to exact a little revenge.
They do. And, you know, Scott, one of the things when it goes to the coaching, and I know there's a lot of guys who don't like John Calipari because of the baggage that he's had at different places, but when you're at these blue chip programs, the turnover is so quick. They got to keep teaching X and O's because every year you've got guys, you know, 1 and done or 2 at most and done, and it's a rebuilding process. Now, granted, you're rebuilding with blue chippers, it makes it a little bit easier, but you still got to, you know, get the team to gel, and that's what was missing with North Carolina early. Duke, you know, I know this is the big rivalry game, you know, Duke, North Carolina, everybody lives for that one, but really they're looking at a bigger picture. They're thinking national championship. And, you know, are they going to spill their guts out on the floor here? You know,
you don't think they will, even in the rivalry situation?
They will, but I think it means something to both, but I actually think it means more to North Carolina in this one. This team's peaking at the right time. He's got all the pieces together. It's nowhere near the team we saw early in the year. And they went to North Carolina in the first meeting. They gave, went to Duke, and they gave them all they could handle in that first meeting.
In fact, that's a great segue to what I was going to say next, because when I watched that game, after the game, it was a loss by North Carolina, and they fell to 16-8 straight up. They've since won 6 in a row, as I mentioned, and it came out of that game. And I remember watching that contest, and I like to write down notes. A lot of times I turn down the announcers, turn on some music. You know, I got the Clash going, a little Trade in Vain or whatever. And I'm sitting there at my desk, and I'll write down notes on the games. And what I wrote down in that game was North Carolina just played their best game of the season, and it ended in a loss. So I don't know if a lot of people are going to catch on to the fact that they found it. They put it together at that game in Cameron Indoor. And since then, they've won 6 in a row. Now, I've only played them twice since then, so I did get 2 of those covers. But, Marco, I've also gone against Duke a couple of times on the road, most recently when they played at Virginia. They came through like flying colors. They got their butts kicked at Virginia, made a little run in the second half, but the Cavaliers still got the win. Now they got to face North Carolina, 14-1, the last 15 at home. This one's your free pick.
All right, guys, it's senior day at North Carolina. It's the biggest rivalry in college basketball, Duke, North Carolina, and we've got one team that's absolutely peaking at the right time. North Carolina rolling into the ACC tournament. A win here, this will catapult this team that you're not going to want to face this team. Obviously, they're going to make the big dance and carry that momentum on. But I look at this team, Scott mentioned it, Duke on the road. They're not the same team. They lost at Virginia, which was a huge game for Virginia. They had everything, their NCAA tournament life, so to speak, on the line in that one. But they've also lost at Maryland. They also had a life and death game against Boston College on the road. I just don't like this team on the road. I think North Carolina wants it more. They are playing better basketball right now. We're going to ride the hot streak. I've got North Carolina. I say they win this one by 5 or more. Let's take the Tar Heels on Saturday. It's senior day. They go out in style.
I like it. I think North Carolina's going to. Do they have any seniors on this team, by the way? I'm just kidding.
Probably not.
I'm just kidding because of what you said in the opening portion of the show.
You know, the guy, Waterboy, maybe.
Senior day means a couple of sophomores who are going to the NBA. But anyway, he's Marco D'Angelo. He says take North Carolina over Duke in the rematch. And when we come back, we've got a best bet from Marco. We're going to come out to the Mountain West, Fresno State at UNLV. Stick around for that and more.